Women in Print Alliance is dedicated to connecting, empowering, and advancing women in the print industry. As part of Printing United Alliance, we're fostering a more inclusive future through advocacy, education, and networking opportunities that connect women across the entire industry. Join us as an individual to grow your career, expand your network, and access exclusive resources, or enroll your entire organization to show your commitment to supporting women in print. Become a member today at womeninprintalliance.org and help us shape the future of print.
Welcome to Her Imprint, part of the Impressions Exchange. I'm Denise Gustafson, your host. This podcast celebrates the remarkable women who are transforming the printing industry. We'll explore their journeys, from challenges to triumphs, and share the stories that leave a lasting imprint. Today I have with me Melissa Vitali. She's president and CEO for Graphix Unlimited. So Melissa, welcome.
Thank you, Denise.
To get us started today, can you tell me a little bit about Graphix Unlimited?
Of course, we were established in 1990 in northern Indiana, a little town called Bremen. We're just south of South Bend and a couple hours from Chicago. We design and manufacture graphics mostly for the RV, recreational vehicle industry, and marine industries. But we also provide print work for military vehicles, Department of War, and things of that nature, as well as some architectural and interior graphics that we do here as well with like local museums and some interior designers here locally that we do some custom work for.
Very interesting. I've actually not talked with anybody that's done a lot of stuff in the RV market or anything along those lines.
That's a unique industry. There's a few printers, graphics companies that are concentrated in that industry locally here. We are only one of two that are actually manufacturing in the same area that the RVs are built in. Yeah, it's similar. It's an automotive and similar to fleets. They have high volume. Our designers and sales team will go in and work with their designers about every 2 years usually, or when they're coming out with a new product line. And that can take a couple months, usually just the design process. There's quite a lot that goes into that. That's the majority of what we do is that. But it's always interesting because everybody has a different look they're going for, or sometimes they all want the same look, but they're all unique. So it's all custom and then they'll run that design typically for at least a year, sometimes 2 years on that model. And then you start all over.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We're always doing something new, so that keeps it exciting.
When people buy the RVs, do they customize it any further in terms of designs, or do they really stick with whatever that design is initially?
There's a lot of people that will customize. We also do paint units. So we design the full body paints and then manufacture the masks for the paint shops as well. So sometimes we'll do custom paint designs that people want. Custom graphics, like for us being a larger scale manufacturer with screen printing as well as digital, there's tons of smaller shops that do a lot of the custom work. If they want a wrap and things like that, we tend to stay more with the manufacturers as an OEM rather than consumer. Typically, we always have somebody that wants something cool and we're always willing to do it, but that's not our main. A lot of times the smaller shops is who they'll go to. That kind of thing. So.
And more local for them so that makes it easier. Just interesting. Like I said, I had never actually talked to someone that actually worked specifically in that market. So it's interesting how it can be so different and yet so similar to some other vehicles and fleet graphics that folks do.
Yes. That right now the RV industry it's pretty slow. It's definitely economy driven industry. So you have to be able to supplement with other things when that happens. And a few years ago, we started offering apparel lines. So we do have a small department for apparel that's definitely growing. So that's been interesting too, to add different product lines and look at ourselves instead of as a graphics manufacturer, as a printer. It's a large format, small format, digital. We've gone into a lot of different techniques for printing. And there's so many. People have no idea how many techniques there are in the print world.
Best kept
So
secret ever,
it
honestly.
really is. It really is. I think the best kept secret in our industry, actually, in the print world, is how you can work together with even your own competitors sometimes. Maybe not necessarily the direct competitor you want to get in with, but there's so many different types of print. One manufacturer can't possibly have everything. So it's really good to partner with other printers that have maybe equipment you don't, or you have equipment they don't. And so it allows all the printers to offer more products if you partner together.
Yeah.
I have found some really good partners in the industry. Some at some of the events I've come to from Print United, and then various ways vendors that introduce you to each other when they know they have some common goals and are willing to work together. And there's lots of printers out there that will do that. Well, yeah, let's work together. We can build each other's business by being able to offer each other things.
Yeah, it's all tides lift all boats in a way.
Yeah.
Like you said, you put apparel in, decide to try
Mhm.
something new. But
Yeah.
if you have something that's a really long run that you might not be able to do that in-house.
Correct. Correct. So I think it's something, and I don't know if everybody thinks that way, but I sure do, that you can't always look at the other printers as your competitors necessarily, because they could be your partners, just depending on what you want to offer and how you want to work that out. I find that's been very successful to approach it.
Really
And I think
interesting.
our industry is unique for that. I don't think I know an RV manufacturer isn't going to call another RV manufacturer partner together. They're,
Yeah, I'm having a problem with
you know,
this, with the brake pads or what. Yeah, they're not
right.
to call.
Yeah. So I think our industry is unique in how we can work together on projects that we may not have gotten if we hadn't worked together to be able to offer a more complete package.
Yeah, it's funny. One of the things that I hear time and time again is it's the people, the relationships that that we've
Oh,
developed,
for sure.
that we've
Yes.
and yes, obviously there's competition and there's some friendly competition. You all
Mhm.
sometimes are going after similar jobs, but
Mhm.
then in a pinch, a lot of times people will help out. Hey,
Oh, yeah.
my press went down and I
Mhm.
need to run this. Yeah, send it over. We got time. We can take care of it for you. No problem.
Yes. Yeah. And I do. I really love that about this industry. And you're right. The relationships that you build can always come in handy when you're in a pinch.
Oh God, yeah.
Somebody out there can help you. And so knowing who those are is a big deal. Yeah.
So how did you get started in this crazy industry?
Oh my goodness. I was actually working in kitchen design for residential. So I was doing that. And my mom was always in the graphics industry since I was about 7. And just being somewhat familiar with it because she had always worked it. And then the company she was working for, he said, I want to hire your daughter. And she was like, no, we're not bringing her in. Here I am, 23 years later.
What was your mom
So
doing for the company?
she runs the office manager. She kept all the wheels running, kept those wheels greased.
So you started there in sales.
I started in sales and I did that for about 15 years. And our owner, he really wanted to start nonprofit for helping people when they're in that halfway transition, when they're in recovery from rehab and things like that. So he really wanted to do something else. He didn't want to keep running the company. We just all rallied around and let us run it. So he said, okay. And so we took over and kept it going. And he comes in, he's actually going to be in here pretty soon and checks in, but it's worked out. He got to go do what he wanted, what his dream was. And we all got to stay here and keep things going. And it's worked out. It's worked out well. I don't know that would always work for everybody, but
True.
he's definitely been on board.
Yeah, but
It's
you were in
been,
kitchen and bath design.
I was in kitchen and bath design. Yes. I was in kitchen and bath design and
What
moved over
made you say
to,
yes to mom?
it wasn't her, it was him, the owner. But I don't know if I really know what made me say yes, to be honest. It was like, I think I was at a point where the kids had gotten a little bit older and it was a different opportunity. And maybe I just needed a change. It was just the timing, I think, of it. But I'm glad I did. I was able to grow my career, tons of relationships in both the RV and the print industry, and been able to raise my family and make a decent living and all those things.
Can't complain about that.
Right. Exactly. Especially I didn't go off to college. I didn't have all that. That's much bigger now with the kids. But when I graduated, it wasn't pushed as much.
Even
I feel
now,
very fortunate. Yeah.
college is not for everyone, even now.
No, it's not actually. We have a son that went and graduated, did great. And we have a daughter that it wasn't for her. And she came home after a year and that was okay. So she's actually working here now in accounting and HR.
Awesome.
Yeah. 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 She's been here a few years now. Yeah. My mom retired a few years ago and then my daughter came on. So it's funny how that works out.
It does. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Now, for you, this is not what you necessarily wanted to do. Was there a point in time where you said, when you realized that like this really was like your home? Obviously, you came in, you said yes. You could have changed your mind down the line too.
Yeah. Yes. Some days I still think about changing my mind. Because it's definitely got its challenges for sure. It's probably been one of the hardest things I've ever done, especially with the economy and that we've had times where we've had to do layoffs and you got the employee side of things to always consider and making sure that those numbers are where they need to be all the time. There's a lot of pressure. And which is why we've really been trying to diversify our product lines as well to fill some of those gaps when they come along. But yeah, it's a lot of responsibility and sometimes that pressure, you can really feel it. But there's a lot of enjoyment too. We really have an amazing team here at Graphix. Oh my goodness, 75% of us have been here more than 10 years. So it's truly a family around here. It's very much a family atmosphere. When we're celebrating for one, we're all celebrating with them. And same with grieving. If somebody's grieving, we're all grieving. Those things make it easy to come to work every day, a lot easier. And yeah, I think I really am grateful for that side of it as well.
Yeah.
To have those relationships.
And relationships is something you talk a lot about too, how important they are.
Very important.
Now, for you, you really had no background in print apart from your mom working for a print company.
Right. Correct.
So how important were those relationships for you to help you grow your career, to help you really gain the knowledge that you needed to do what you're doing today?
Critical. Absolutely critical. Because the first couple of years when I came on, like you said, came from the kitchen and bath industry. I had no idea about print. I was green as could be. Those first couple months, just going around and picking people's brains, going into the graphic designers. Like what they do is completely different than what happens when it gets down to production and how all that ties together. That it was kind of a process. And if I hadn't had these people to teach me all that, now you have AI and you can just go into AI and say, how do you screen something? And it'll tell you.
But is it accurate? Is it hallucinating today or not? That's then the other question.
Yes, of course. And if you don't know, you won't know. But
then there's YouTube videos. There are
resources now are immense. But yeah, 20 plus years ago, we didn't have it. So I spent a fair amount of time working in production even just to get understanding. And quite honestly, manufacturing is probably my favorite part. I like to be involved in the operations and seeing the product get out the door, seeing the product come to life on the print presses is probably something only people appreciate. People will come in and do tours and they will leave going, I had no idea how this was done. And we have some pretty large format screen printers. We can print up to about 140 inches on long by close to 60 wide. So we have a few of those. So yeah, we can put gang sheets, if you can imagine, up there. So people find that interesting. We also have a department that's all digital because now you really have to have supplemental things and then your partners that you contact. But yes.
How important were industry associations or industry training? Is that some of what may have helped you?
Oh, yes, for sure. We actually go out. Now we went to, of course, Printing United. We've done various trade shows, went to many seminars, of course, things like that. And then, of course, being members, we have access to a lot of training on the website and various things. I know we have sent people out for installation training. I've done a lot of that over the years, and I actually love to do installation. I find it very relaxing most of the time, unless it's a super difficult one, then it can be a little stressful. But
And then you're yelling up,
yeah.
so why aren't you going on right?
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, I love all the different aspects. I can sit in the design in the art studio and sit there with the artists and create things on the computer, and then within a few days have it producing in production. I just think it's amazing. And yeah, I don't know. I'm a total print junkie. I don't know if anybody's going to be that interested, but I am.
No, you have you honestly, most people I talk to love print
Yeah,
in one form
really.
or another.
Okay.
There's a
Yeah.
creativity to it. There's a
There is.
pride too
Yes.
to
Yes.
what people are producing,
Yeah.
to what you're producing, to what your team is producing, especially when you
know,
start seeing it in the wild, like I said.
I love when I see our product out in the wild. So about 5 years ago, I went on vacation to Alaska. And there's only a couple of highways through that state. There's too many mountains. So you only have a couple roads you can take. And of course, there's tons of travelers and outdoorsy people up there, of course. And so as we're driving through those areas on our vacation, I could play all of the RVs that I'm like, that one's ours. That one's ours. That one's ours. When you see your product out in the wild, I literally get to see our product out in the wild. It is pretty cool. You could pull into a campground and find your product sitting all over the place.
And you can see how well that's the design
How it's
from,
holding out. Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
7 or whatever it
Yeah.
was back 10,
Yeah.
15 years ago. And it's still holding up pretty well. Or
Yeah. It's crazy. We have a particular customer, a particular unit that we're the only company that's ever done the graphics for it. And we helped name the unit. It was created back in the economic crisis of 2008, 2009. It's called the RPod, and it came off back then the iPod, your little music iPod, before the iPhone, audience, if you can imagine. So it was a play off of the iPod, and yeah, we named it RPod, as in put your family in its little pod and go. And this thing has like a cult following. It's really crazy. They can't wait to see what graphics we come out with the next year. There is a frog that's like their mascot that's always in the design somewhere.
has to be somewhere in there. You got to find
Tons of Facebook groups and all this that followed that particular unit. So it's always interesting to see the comments when the new graphic design comes out, which we have one coming out this May for that.
very cool.
Yeah. And we have lots of loyal customers like that. There's, again, the relationships come into play there. But yeah, it's a huge sense of pride to see your work out there. And I think we get a pretty large canvas to be able to see that all over the America. So
it's a large canvas that is almost a permanent canvas too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because these installs are going to last. No, it's not like a permanent graphic that's going to be up for a couple of weeks. It's lasting years.
It has to last years, yes. So the materials and that we work very close with Avery and some of the bigger vinyl, because it's a very particular material that's really specified for the recreational industry. So it's not your standard materials you're going to just have sit in your brush. Yeah. So I always caution people. I'm like, listen, there's a lot. It's its own vinyl. They have their own vinyl. They have their own product lines that are manufactured specifically for that industry. It does have to last a long time.
And the last thing you want is for the thing to fly off when you're going 65 miles an hour down a highway.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You don't want that phone call as a graphics.
No. Honestly, it's similar in a way to aviation graphics or aircraft graphics.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a certain rated film that goes on airplanes because it has to withstand the temperature differences, all of
Yeah.
the different things that a plane goes through. The last thing you want for a plane graphic to come off and get stuck in an engine. God
Yes.
forbid
So,
anything like that happened.
yes, same thing. Yeah. Very specific. It's good. We don't have a lot of issues out there. Of course, after 10, 15 years, you're going to tap. You can tap. But from the print world, for something to last and the elements out in the world for that long, that's a big deal. I
Yeah.
think.
Come on, if
Yeah.
I was sitting out in the elements 24/7 for 10
Yeah.
or 15 years, you'd see
Right.
some wear and tear on me too.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, we have to use all the right inks, and all those things are very important. Even our transfer tapes, all of that has to be very specific. And if it weavers, I'll tell you, the RB, they know right away. As soon as they're putting it on, they're like, "What'd you do?" It's like, "Nothing." Nothing.
Really,
Most of the
nothing.
time, really nothing. But yeah, they definitely know. But yeah, that's a little peek into that world. So
It's just
I,
interesting. Like I said, it's an interesting world. It's not a world that I've
Mhm.
actually had a chance to talk to anybody about, which makes it interesting to me too.
Yeah,
But like
yeah,
for
I can.
you, the technology is a big driver too of what you
Mhm.
do because it seems like that's what's
Yeah,
part of what you love.
it is. It is. I love to learn the new stuff. And now with AI, we've been able to just supplement and enhance and find even more efficient ways and ways to do things better, getting our designs out quicker. I think back, we had a cabinet here that we keep history in, and I can pull drawings out that were drawn by hand. The company first started in 1990, before there was Illustrator to go design.
Mm.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting how it's evolved. We just talked about doing a timeline down the lobby hallway using some of those old techniques and showing the younger generation that's working here. And they can never believe it when we show them that stuff. But
It's great to be able to look back on that history of a company and really see
yeah.
the changes and the growth
Mhm.
that's happened. Because especially when you're in the middle of it, I don't think you realize what you've been through or what has really
Mhm.
happened until you actually
Right.
take the time to step back and really look at where you
Absolutely.
started and where you are.
Yeah. Yeah. And really, when you do that, whether it's with your business, your career, or your life, if you really look, it's okay. I think people don't give themselves enough grace sometimes on their accomplishments. I think we are just driven to keep doing more when maybe we should look at what we've already done.
I
So,
think some of it is the society. It's what have you done for me lately is a lot of
Mhm.
what we hear instead of,
Yeah.
not that we need the attaboys either all the time.
No, absolutely. You don't need the attaboys all the time, but have become a society of complaints. And it can wear on people after. I've seen that effects of that. Like even our customer service girls some days, they're like, man, and it can be from, yeah, we screwed up and made a mistake, or it can be the most minor thing we have there, whether UPS did. But that's the day that we have all the time. So it's how you handle those things and how you just have to keep going.
Yeah, 9 times out of
Yeah.
10, you're gonna hear something bad because the
Hey,
people that
right.
are happy, you never hear from.
You don't hear from them. Yeah. You don't hear from them. So,
I don't know why
yeah,
we're so reluctant to give that commendation or
I
gratitude
don't
or
either.
that. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I don't either. But I know I personally am terrible about that. But it is. We should give ourselves grin and definitely look at your accomplishments, because they do get lost in the shuffle. You don't realize it until later. We did do that. We did make it. So,
All the things that we've done, we
Mhm.
do have a right to be proud of what we've accomplished.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
So,
as we are wrapping up, the question that I like to end in is knowing what you know now. So, your history, your growth through the industry, the things that you've seen and done.
Oh,
If you were starting out today, so just walking in
yeah.
the front door of your shop today,
Oh
what
boy.
advice would you give yourself?
Probably what we were just talking about, honestly, in giving myself a little bit more grace, because I probably caused myself more stress than I needed to. Sales, whether you're selling print or anything else, sales, it's not for everyone. You gotta have some thick skin. So I would say I would definitely give myself a little more grace starting out for
Good
sure.
advice, though.
Yeah. And I think everybody should. I think we expect a lot of ourselves, which you should. That's what drives you. When you run into something difficult or something that has to be addressed, a lot of times we're just about let's get it corrected as quickly as possible. And while that's right, you don't want to drag your feet so that it expands. But at the same time, sometimes we make our decisions too quickly and not realizing the effect we're having on ourselves or others, your coworkers. Like, what I just did that make it harder for someone else and just easier for me? So I think that I would definitely slow down. That's something I can do now that I didn't do. Just thinking things through a little more thoughtfully. That's the advice I would give me first.
Like I said, that's great advice. And it's great. It's advice that I think, like you said, we all can take on to give ourselves a little bit more benefit of the doubt, to give ourselves the grace that we need we're human. Things are going to happen.
Yeah. And tip one more thing is, you know what? Most people actually, they don't fight. I think we get intimidated, especially as women in the sales world. And a lot of the industries are still dominated by men, which is totally fine. But I think that I was definitely intimidated when I first started. I would want to take, because I don't think it's necessary. I found that really most people are pretty reasonable and will have conversation. So
Yeah. People put their socks on the same way everybody else
same
does.
way every day. That's right.
So, Melissa, it was a pleasure chatting with you today. Thank you again for taking a little bit of time.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, Denise. It was good to talk to you.
Thank you for joining us on this journey to celebrate and amplify the voices of women in the printing industry. If you have a story to share or know someone whose journey deserves to be highlighted, we'd love to hear from you. Together, let's continue inspiring and empowering the next generation of leaders. Until next time, keep leaving your imprint. This is Her Imprint. See you soon.